Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. Spirit is love. The universe is love. We are love. When we look beyond the personality to the eternal soul within, we recall who we really are. The temporary loss of that identity and its subsequent rediscovery and the contrast between the two give the soul a more profound self-knowing and self-appreciation. For the soul, this kind of stark contrast cannot be obtained or understood without a physical incarnation. For the personality, the rediscovery of oneself as love results in the physical and emotional healing that John has begun to know. Was that incident something that was planned with the mother's soul prior to birth? Yes. Doris's soul had just confirmed something I had seen many times, including John's story. Those who most challenge us do so at our behest. These roles are agreed upon before birth, with the souls who play tormentor doing so out of love and often deferring their own learning until another lifetime so we may have the growth experiences we seek. The soul knows that all is one, but casts itself from that knowledge so that it may feel separation and learn to come home. Also, the lessons that the personality brings back to the soul are incorporated to understanding the greater human experience. While souls know that they are loved and that they are loved, to learn the fullness of it, we experience the lack of love so that we may understand self-love from all facets and all directions. Gratitude toward those who have most challenged us and thus most stimulated our evolution is a soul-level perspective we can adopt while still embodied. When we make that choice, we remove blame from our lives. Without blame, forgiveness becomes possible, and with forgiveness comes healing. Self-blame is actually self-pity. That is not where the focus should be. The focus should be on the child. Everything is for a purpose. When you feel what you feel is a disadvantage is a challenge that can often turn out to be an advantage. Remember, this was planned. That will shift your perspective. Blame, guilt, and shame serve no purpose and hold you back from progress. Instead, see it as an opportunity. See this child and your life from a higher perspective. Compassion. In the many sessions with the mediums, compassion was one of the life lessons mentioned most often by Spirit, along with empathy and unconditional love for self and others. As eternal souls, we seek to know ourselves as compassion. This self-knowing, which is really the feeling of compassion as both gift given and gift received, comes to us and is deepened by its every expression on the physical plane. Society views deafness as an imperfection. To be viewed as imperfect by others is to be granted the opportunity to feel compassion for all those deemed by society as less than. Contrast of this sort does not exist in the non-physical realm where all are equal and the iridescent beauty of every soul is self-evident and unquestionable. No soul is less than. The very concept is senseless. In the physical realm, this hollow, meaningless notion is temporarily invested with an illusory meaning, one that allows us to understand and experience compassion in a way otherwise impossible. During the course of my research, I came across a young man who in meditation contacted a future self, that is, an incarnation of his soul at a future time. The future self told him that people of the future refer to this time on earth as the fear ages. Consider the significance of this label. Of the almost infinite descriptors that might be applied to our age, they chose fear. Fear is a predominant emotion of our time. It is so much a part of our daily existence that we tend not to notice it. Carried forward from hundreds of prior incarnations, unhealed fear is deeply embedded in individual and collective consciousness. To heal fear, we need to experience it. Resistance to any energy only makes it stronger, and then choose to move beyond it. Life challenges afford an opportunity to heal those fears, both conscious and unconscious. Like fear and other negative emotions, false beliefs also require healing. If, for example, the soul who murdered Penelope's mother creates a belief while embodied that self-loathing is merited or that he is rage, then that soul will design further incarnations to learn otherwise. Bob's life plan, like that of so many who choose to incarnate in a period when love of self is lacking, was designed to give him a deeper understanding of self-love through both its lack and the experience of its subsequent creation. When we are in spirit, we know love of self as easily and as naturally as we know love of others. We know, too, that these are one and the same. Only in the physical can we courageously forget and then remember the feeling of self-love. Life challenges bring us to that love, showing us that it lives within, reflecting to us that we are the great love of our lives. In her experiences with her son, she had been allowed to believe that she must be perfect. She experienced situations in which her abilities and wisdom were at times not enough to control all aspects of her environment, including the actions of her son. She was also to honor and respect the path of those people around her, even if different from her own path. She has learned this lesson quite well and has tested and expanded her compassion and also expanded her belief in the goodness of humans. These are no small things. The angels have beautifully summarized Sharon's life blueprint. Apparently, she and Tony had planned his drug addiction in part so that she might know herself as respect and compassion, rather than adopt a belief in the badness of people who choose drugs, a false belief that might then need to be healed in subsequent incarnations. Sharon had used the experience to rely on others and thus see their goodness. She had willingly received love from others, and in so doing had given those people a great gift, the opportunity to express love. Because our true nature as souls is love, we consider our physical lives well spent to the extent that we give and receive love. I'd like to ask about healing, I said to Stacy's spirit guide. Christina went through quite a bit of healing, both physically and emotionally. She forgave the person who planted the bomb. My understanding is that forgiveness literally alters the DNA of the forgiver and the person being forgiven. Is that accurate? If so, how does it change DNA? It is accurate, he confirmed. It produces change on the chromosomal level. This topic is covered in the Ayurvedic system of healing. Energy goes out from you and a wave of forgiveness is felt on an unconscious level by the person you forgive. It's up to them whether or not they accept that forgiveness. Many times that person will continue to grieve and not forgive themselves, but it does free the person so they can progress. If the person accepts the forgiveness, what specifically happens on the chromosomal level? Stacy stopped channeling for a moment to describe an image her guide was now creating in her mind. Hard particles were falling away from chromosomes and were being replaced by something rounder and softer. That enables a better flow of energy, what you sometimes call chi, through the body and mind. With this greater flow, there is more energy available to move forward with purpose in life. It pervades the body and mind on something smaller than the cellular level. Does crying heal DNA? I asked. When it is a release, not when it is self-pity. Does laughter heal DNA? Laughter is very healing. It starts a cascade of hormones that wash over the body, wash out toxins, and promotes circulation of fluids. Does it alter DNA? It prevents the toxic alteration of DNA. It is more of a preventive maintenance than altering. There are times when people, like cancer patients, can engage in laughter therapy to heal on a cellular level, but as it does not, in and of itself, produce changes on the DNA strand. It enables the body to function more positively and in harmonic resonance to itself. I'd like to ask the same question in regard to water. We've talked about crying as part of the healing process. Some people I've spoken with did visualizations in which they washed themselves in water or reclined in a stream. There's a book by a Japanese scientist, Emoto, who spoke certain words to water, then froze it and analyzed the crystals. He found that high vibration words, in particular love and gratitude, resulted in the most beautiful crystals. What is the role of water in healing? Water imbues all body parts and particles, said Stacy's guide. Water takes on vibration and releases vibration. Water can take on magnetism. It can dispel magnetism. It is a carrier and enabler. If someone who has been hurt physically and emotionally speaks to water, programs it with thoughts like love and gratitude, and then drinks the water, would that stimulate either physical or emotional healing? Yes, it would. Speaking these things to it imbues it with a life force and energy. Ingesting the water brings that life force into the body and helps the body release and cleanse itself of toxins through several organ systems. To see only light is to see only divinity in each person who walks on earth. It is then we remember who we really are.